Yeah, Ancient Heart here. Interesting little spate or spat, or however you say that. People with BP on the channel pushing back today. Wow. So, then I reference, on the video I did about, in response to the person with BPD's comment, etc., etc., a couple of videos ago now. And then, so I referenced the video that they're talking about. And then somebody else posts with BP on that video, but the thing that happened with that is it's not there anymore, but I don't know what happened to it. I think they took it down, but I kept trying to reply to it, 3-4 times, and it just kept not going through. And sometimes that happens when somebody's editing a comment or removes a comment. But so this was a person with BPD who said they have BPD, which again, I don't think all people with BPD are the same. So I don't know, well, from the comment, I could tell that this person was also not in any significantly treated to on the way to recovery place, but that doesn't mean they've had no treatment. But they were saying first and foremostly to my video, which I'll link it down here again, but this is also a message to people with BPD who haven't got enough treatment or don't understand yet that you don't know how to love healthily, in a healthy way, with congruence, consistency, if at all, because untreated people with BP forget it. So I just want you to know, from here on out, I will not be entertaining your comments. I will not be speaking back to your comments, because you know what? You want to cause your chaos and your drama, and you want to right fight. I don't have time for it, frankly, okay? So unless I'm working with somebody with BPD where I have all the patience in the world and I do my utmost best, I can't help you, people with BPD that just want to right, fight, and blah, blah, whatever you do. So this person said on the video, I should have had it pulled up here. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Just because I don't want to get the title wrong now, because it promises to be, I guess, no fun for a lot of other people with BP. That's just unfortunate. But that's not the purpose of doing it. I mean, I'm actually being accurate here. Anyway. Yeah, here it is. Okay, wait. Don't want to play right now. No noise. Okay, sorry. It's called BPD, Borderlines Don't, Can't, and Won't Love You or Attach to You. So I'm speaking specifically there, of course, the undiagnosed, but the obvious. I'm speaking of untreated. I'm speaking of people with BPD who are not really far down the road in a treatment plan, in a modality other than DBT, by the way, which is a great start, a recovery modality. So this commenter said, first of all, that they thought I was oversimplifying things. Right. That wasn't an abject projection. There's nothing that I put out here that's, I don't think, usually an oversimplification of these issues around whether it's, usually BPD or NPD or codependency and whatever else might pop up, or I might be about to turn the corner and focus on some more too. I don't oversimplify anything. It doesn't come from an oversimplified place. Let me assure you of that. And that this idea, so then the commenter said, the name was Canyon, and the commenter said, what was my definition of love anyway? When I'm making these statements, truisms known within psychology, within, clinical circles of different, I guess maybe to different degrees of different definitions of BPD, that I'm a plain talker. I'm not going to stick in the academic realm of those who won't speak out and tell the truth, because primarily, I still do work with and help people with BPD, and those who want to help themselves instead of right fight and moan and groan about this, that, and the other. So Canyon asked me, first said it was an oversimplification, and then said it really hurt, and then said what was my definition of love? And they asserted, did this Canyon person, I don't mean any disrespect, I just don't know if it's a male or female, they asserted that, but love is an abstract, this is a direct quote, but love is an abstract concept, unquote. Maybe people agree with you, and other people at BPD might agree with you, but I totally disagree with you. There's many different definitions of love out there, you know, poetic ones, romantic ones, lots that describes really unhealthy love, the childlike love at best that a person with BPD can show, untreated or not significantly enough treated, whatever that means. So I'm not working off of any definition of my own personal, like I don't have a personal definition of love. I have followed what M. Scott Peck says about love, what maybe some of what Gibran says about love, some philosophers, but also just within psychology itself, you know, love has been healthy love versus unhealthy love, very clearly defined. So then Canyon said, what was it? There was, they said, well, quote, I thought there was only an unstable self in BPD. I've never heard about this, quote, there's no self stuff, but yet I'm the one oversimplifying things. Well, you know, they say that a trait of BPD, for what it's worth from the APA, is, it means something. It's just the way they frame it. But they say that a trait is unstable sense of self. Yes. More to the point, when one understands this, more from the point of needing a whole lot more treatment, it sounds like, Canyon, when you really understand the ins and outs of it to, it's a higher degree of level, because it's not a personal level, it's a professional level, then that unstable sense of self, as it's so called, is, it's the absolute loss of self. As I say in many videos here, to the arrested emotional development that causes the psychological, I'm just going to try to be AI friendly, passing away psychologically of the otherwise burgeoning authentic self, said the mother of object relations theory, Melanie Klein, which has been worked on and brought more forward over the years by many other clinicians like Masterson and many, many others. And so this is who I, have read the books and done the studying years ago. And then I have my own personal experience with having recovered and healed from BPD. And if you don't believe me, to anybody, I don't care. It's so old already. But the bottom line is, so it's not like when I say these things for people with BPD untreated, not significantly enough treated, not interested in treatment, in total denial, right biting, etc., as a lot of people with BPD are, not all. Well, I'm not saying it's a, quote, life sentence, unquote. I'm just saying it's the reality until and unless immeasurable, really, significant treatment to healing and recovery. But you need to find, people with BPD need to find the self. Recovery from BPD and treatment for it is not simple. It is not easy. Why do you think so many people won't go? Why do you think so many people don't stay? But then they have all these opinions like, quote, oh, love is just an abstract concept, unquote. Well, maybe somebody else would say that in a different kind of frame, maybe academic debate or philosophical debate or something. But to just forward that in what rather in your comments seem like a defensive way, who other than a person with BPD who doesn't know what love is, or perhaps a codependent who equally doesn't know what healthy love is, because when it's not modeled for you in childhood, etc., you don't know what it is. I didn't always know what it was. And just because I know what it is and I'm in a happy, healthy relationship doesn't mean I'm perfect. But mutuality, reciprocity, respect, congruence, consistency, no splitting. All these things matter to what the difference between BPD, a lot of people, BPD's idea of love, then this comment, and what it's not. And then this commenter went on to say, so I would say that the only people really that would forward the notion that love is this abstract concept are probably people who don't know anything about what really healthy love is. Largely people with BPD untreated or not well enough treated. What else did the commenter say? Because the comment disappeared, so I'm just going off memory here. There was something else in there I wanted to address, but, like I've said in other videos, and I'm not going to keep repeating this stuff, seriously. People with BPD have no self-reference, no self-coherence. So even if somebody wanted to say, well, I'm in treatment and I've gotten to this point where sort of I know a little bit about the law of self and I have maybe more of an unstable sense of self still, and no, don't really have that sense of self I need yet, as opposed to when the self evacuates at emotional arrested development and what that really means, then you still don't have self-coherence and you still don't have a healthy self-reference. And people with BP, unfortunately, do everything that happens in their childhood, which is not their fault or responsibility. But when you turn adult age, it all becomes your responsibility, regardless that it wasn't your fault. That's what people have to get over. That's what people have to radically accept. Oh, that's an uber unfair right-biting marker right there for people with BPD that keeps more of them out of treatment and fighting and resisting treatment than anything else. Because as Masterson so aptly put it, Dr. James F. Masterson, the late, great Dr. James F. Masterson, so aptly put it that there's one thing that totally blocks, this is not the way he said it, but one thing that totally blocks people with BPD's chances at recovery, because he acknowledged the possibility of that, just like a few other psychiatrists do. But he said, there's one thing that people with borderline personality value and are ensconced and entrenched in, right fighting about, but right fighting. People with BPD who can't get into treatment are in denial, won't seek treatment, like the commenter did the video about last, and this person with BPD. You're so invested in right fighting, and right fighting isn't just you're right, I'm wrong, or I think I'm righter than you, but because I'm not right fighting. Whether you get this or not is not going to change my day today. It's like something you probably would benefit from learning. I've been there, done that. I think, this idea that you can, most people with BPD, to one degree or another, until and unless significantly treated, loathe themselves. The self that they can't figure out, the self that they can't relate to, the self that they don't know, the self that there's no coherence or reference for. And you cannot relate to other, you cannot love other if you don't love yourself. And if you can't find yourself and you've lost yourself, good luck with your love is just an abstract concept. And then the person went on to say, can and did, that there's people in their life or something that they care about their health and safety and their well-being, and isn't that love? Well, it could be a form. It could be love to an extent. It depends. If you're caring about somebody's well-being and they get sick, you get stressed and triggered and split. I don't know where you're at. But that happens for a lot of people with BPD untreated or not well enough treated. And the bottom line is what this commenter was really describing, after their abstract notion, or their notion of abstract love. It's an abstract concept. Actually, fairness and unfairness is an abstract construct. The reason why people with BPD right fight and sometimes want to punish, and that unregulated, unmastered talionic impulse. And if anybody wants to read more about that, I have that book at ajmahari.com or phoenixrisingpublications.com, Punishment and Revenge in BPD. And so with that said, the commenter was also forwarding the idea that, like unstable sense of self versus loss of self, and yet said I was oversimplifying. You know, the right-fighting defenses of people with BPD are what's keeping them stuck. And if people with BPD want to come on here and say whatever you want about the videos, if you're civil, and that person wasn't uncivil, like their comment disappeared. I was trying to reply to it. I didn't take it down. So the thing is, I can't find it anywhere now, so I don't know if it was a technical glitch when I was replying or they were editing it for the third or fourth time. I don't know. But the point is that, you know, I stand by everything I've said in my videos. And I might say it in a different way than a lot of other people say it, or even other professionals say it. But I'm here to keep it real to help people heal. And guess what? When you have BPD, like Ryan, who didn't like what I said in, I think that very same video, and went on about it to an extent of like, you know, disagree, that's fine. But then it's the right-fighting, totally lacking logic arguments. And like Cannon said, you know, but love is just a abstract concept. Well, there's something abstract about or conceptualized only, or a concept of love when you're in a relationship with somebody. And, you know, it needs to be mutual and reciprocal respect to begin with. And each person has to know themselves. And this bears repeating for people with codependency as well, with a false self as well. Everybody needs to heal and recover. Many of us grow up, like most of us grow up in childhood for this reason, that reason, and a myriad of reasons. And we do not see healthy love modeled between parents or with parents, family members, in extended families, families of origin. We don't see it mirrored in music. We don't see it mirrored in culture. We don't see it mirrored in movies. We see codependent, variety of unhealthy love, or else traumatic, chaotic to the point of like it rather looks like a character with BPD in a movie. Or what was going on in Ordinary People, for example. There's just many things to watch out for, but I'm doing this video here to just say again, it's not that, well, I mean, I've covered all the ground that these people have yet to cover, okay? Simply put, it's not bragging or anything, it's just reality. So I'm not going to keep engaging this because there's no point. It's just like, I only have so much time, so I'm doing this video to say, if you have BPD and you really disagree with anything I say, please know I'm willing to hear it. If you and Cannon wasn't uncivil, so I don't know where the comment went. So my apologies on that. I don't know. And Cannon also was really happy with a video of mine 3 days ago, wherein they felt really heard and really understood. And well, that's BPD changeability, because when you get to the tougher stuff that doesn't feel good, then people with BPD, you know, split to devalue and want to throw it out, need to escape from it and start right fighting against it and arguing to everybody else, not just me here, everybody else is wrong about their issues with love, or they can't love and why they can't love and they won't love. And when I said people with BPD can't love, won't love, haven't loved you and don't attach to you, I'm talking about if they're not even diagnosed, if they're untreated, or if they haven't, if they're not in a significant process of treatment already. And that means more than DBT, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Please note that. I'm not saying anything against DBT, but it is not a full recovery modality for what people who really want to heal and recover from BPD need to go through for approximately 8 to 16 years, according to Dr. John Gunderson. And that's in what he pioneered with Dr. Frank Yeomans, transference-focused psychotherapy, which is what I had, which is what worked wonders for me, but it was very difficult. So the point is, anyway, I don't mind being disagreed with at all. Cannon's comment would still be there. I don't know what happened to it. Well, Ryan's is still up too, for what it's worth. Like, you know, and he started off fine, you know, disagree, whatever. But then went elsewhere. So, you know, I mean, I'm getting things behind the scenes, not all the time, but from some people, BP, just want to lash out. It's like, Don't lash out at me. I'm not your mommy. I'm not your daddy. Take your transference elsewhere. Unless I'm working with a client, that's different. But all this externalization out that people go through in relationships with people with BPD, I get it here in a sort of macrocosm way where I don't take it personally, but yeah, I see a lot of it. So I'm not here to defend what I've said. I'm here to stand by its accuracy. And if you disagree with me and you have BPD, and you can be civil about it, like Cannon was, but I don't know what happened. The comment was, in real time when I was trying to reply to it, was edited 3 times, which means that it's kind of there, but not there. And then my reply goes nowhere. And so I got a little, frustrated because I don't have all day to do that. So then, and then when I went back to look, the comment was gone. I don't know if something technically happened or the person withdrew the comment. That happens sometimes. So, yeah, just know if you have BPD or you don't or whatever. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But I'm going to keep it real here. I'm not going to just accept the hearsay of the internet as fact, and we're living in a post-fact, post-truth world. So I know where the facts are and where the facts aren't. And this is a specialty of mine. And I know, I ran into some stuff earlier today. People are going, oh, yeah, people. Really, I really like AJ Mahari. I'm saying it in third person because I don't care. I really like AJ Mahari's videos, and I've really learned a lot. And people will say stuff like that. And the next one comes along and goes, she's not an expert. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Whatever, whatever you think. So if you disagree, it's no big deal. But and I'm not saying this to Cannon, but if you're going to disagree and then lambaste and fight and get disrespectful to worse, I don't have time for you, sorry. Because I'm not going to support your unhealthy behavior toward me on this platform any more than I would support that in my life, which is called zilch, zero, not happening. So people with BPD have a lot to learn. Many are learning it. Many may have already got to the point where they know what I know. And they might not know technically what I know because maybe they're, lawyers or doctors or something. But they've healed and recovered. And then they don't need to talk about it anymore. I'm here to talk about it to help other people. But I'm definitely not here to put up this kind of nonsense. So if people want to respectfully disagree, I have no problem with, when I say debate or a disagreement, like in an academic sense, it doesn't mean I have to be uber academic with you, or some people are with me and I can return the favor. It just means discourse in which there's enough maturity on the part of others, like people with BPD, yeah, codependent too, actually, to be able to forward what you believe, and I might counter that, but I'm not saying what you believe. It depends if it's a hardcore fact or if it's opinion. If it's opinion, well, mine isn't any more important than yours. But when I'm talking about BPD on this channel, it's not about my opinion. It's not about my personal definition of love, because my definitions of love come basically from, the really deep explanations by pioneers in psychology about what love really is. And also, having found my way to the healing and recovery journey to find out for myself what healthy love really is. And there's no abstract concept of that. And then I think in an iteration of before the last edit to the comment, Cannon was trying to say, but that many people could have different ideas about love, like people with BPD, let's say codependence, people in general. And that's not really true either. I don't think that holds water in a logical argument, because people may have the odd, more romantic definition. They may have, more philosophical, something like that. But what healthy love actually is, that works toward, like, people that know themselves and are the whole object part unit before they get into a relationship with somebody. Like right now, my partner and I, we are both each of us is a whole part unit. Each of us is independent of each other. And then we come together and we share things, but we can come together, we can flow apart, like She's busy, I'm busy. Oh, we got time now? Great. Let's do. What do you want to do? Communication is everything, but you can't have anything to do with healthy love until you have self-respect and you have respect for other. And people with BPD need to find the lost, evacuated self. So anyway, I think I've said enough on this. I don't think I recall anything else from that commenter. I'm not here to make life tough for people with BPD, right? I'm just here to keep it real on both sides. And so, like I said, disagree with me all you want. If you can put together a reasonable argument for something, meaning a premise, something logical, then I'll be happy to respond to that. But I'm not going to respond to the right-fighting obfuscations of what people with BPD don't really understand about themselves yet, some or many, not all. And then, they tell me that I've oversimplified it. It's just an utter projection because they don't know what they're talking about. And that is sad because it means a lot of people are hurting. So I really hope that people with BPD will come to my channel. Like lots of people with BPD have become clients of mine through the channel and are watching the videos. But they're in a readiness place. They're in journeys. They're on their healing and recovery journey. They are accepting things. And sometimes they might say, well, this was painful to hear. And I care about that. But, you can't heal and recover from anything. This goes for codependency and all kinds of other different things in between BPD and codependency. You're not going to heal if you're going to recoil and defend when you hear something that's hard to hear. Because if you want to heal and recover, whether it's BPD or codependency or other things, as I learned decades ago in my life, you've got to open to everything. You've got to want the education, the psychoeducation, psychosocial education within therapy. You've got to want it like a dog with a bone, because you have to be willing to hear things that are obviously, I don't know what's with this phone. You have to be able to hear things that you're not going to want to hear. Or how are you going to grow? How are you going to learn? How's somebody going to help you understand? And I've heard in my lifetime, but in my recovery alone, I couldn't count how many things. And they were painful and they were difficult. But I can't babysit y'all out there with BPD and the ones who are maybe not in treatment, not taking personal responsibility yet, etc. If you're going to watch this channel, then you better find a way to be at least in your big boy or your big girl mode. And I don't mean any disrespect with that. I'm just saying, I don't do trigger warnings. I don't play those games. I'm not here to make it easier for you. If you have untreated borderline personality and you come looking over here, what I have here for you, like people on the other side or codependents, I have the meat and bones of a lot of the explanations that people can choose to take in and feel the hurt, and you can grow forward from that with working with a therapist. But I'm not here to be in some borderline narrative of trigger warnings and be careful and say it all just right, because frankly, that's the last thing you need. So I hope this was helpful to some people. I know there's a lot of people out there with BP in all different stages, places, understanding more, learning more in treatment. And I just want to say, I'm never talking about all people with BPD at once. And let me just end by saying, and I hear other YouTubers saying, and people with BPD, they can go 10 years worth of therapy, but they're not really going to change, and they're still going to split, and they're not going to be able to have relationships. Poppycock. Total poppycock. So there is change, there is healing, and there is recovery for codependents and for people with BPD, but it is daunting work. Don't kid yourself about it. If you're looking for easy, you're not going to get anywhere. Take care.